it was scary because our sales went down to 50, 60 dirhams a day. My partner said, Hamad, we need to fire people. I'm like, guys, we said that people will be scared. Restaurants will be closed. That means there's going to be a market share for us to eat into. We have to be ready for that. So let's stand our stance and not change anything. And as days progressed, sales weren't growing up. We did make a decision to force people to vacations. We did not fire them. Force them on paid leaves and stuff. But as the lockdown started to, people were scared in the first week, but then they started to regain, assurances that it's okay to have delivery food. And what we gained, because we were delivering it ourselves, not through aggregators, within 1 month, we knew exactly where every single customer lives.
I was really excited to talk to you because you seem a bit like me in that you do different things, many different things. And I know when I grew up, I was supposed to focus on one thing. And as I've gotten older, I love doing many different things. So can you just run through how you did, the burgers, the animation that led to working with Dubai Police and hospitality, hotels? Like, how does this all weave together?
I think I grew up also under the same concept. So my father is, so he did his undergrads in mathematics. His PhD was in applied mathematics. He worked as a chief expert statistician. And so then to me, it seemed like, Hamad, you need to focus. And this was me in high school. And I thought at that time, what I kind of thought of my future will be and my vision was animation, doing different films, opening animation company, scaling it up all the way to becoming, Disney was our idol at that time. I started my studies in 2000 by a visit to Disney World and in Orlando. But then as life started to fold and I started to venture to A, B, and C, from animations to actually doing computer animation and forensic work in Dubai Police, to opening and doing short films and running them through film festivals, through studying and then moving on to do my PhDs and further studies in computer vision, which is the AI part of the AI, the video. It's a section in AI that deals with videos and images and teaches computers how to see. And then moving on to biometrics and gait and how you can identify people by their gait, G-A-I-T, which is their walk, and implementing that within the police. And then venturing into different things in AI in the government, and then opening a burger place in F&B and succeeding in that. And then now to the new venture, which is in luxury hospitality. It gets you into a dilemma, I think, early on. I came to peace. I came to peace with it, I think, about 2 years ago. And I'm like, Hamad Alawar, who the hell are you? Are you a government employee? Are you a foodie? Are you an animator? Are you an artist? And when I looked back at what I've done, I realized I don't think a field specifies what Hamad does or what I do. I love the creation of new things. I love creating, let's call it a brand or exposure. So anything I've done has always had a brand and a reputation. When I did the animation for forensics, I was always named, Hamad, the forensic animator, crimes and animation, 3D guy. When I started doing the gait biometrics, people started to call me Hamad the mover, Hamad the movement, Hamad, it started to be. And then when I started to do high joint, even it started to blur the lines between what I do in the government and outside, because people at work would always call me, burgers, Hamad is coming. Whenever I come, people start talking about burgers. So I discovered I had a skill with creating things and making people believe in that vision and walk behind it, no matter how absurd it would sound. From high joint, saying that I wanted to be the best burgers in Dubai, although the shop was a small, tiny shop in one of those strip shops next to a mosque. On my right was an Afghani bakery. On my left was a hair barber. and we made sure we had no hair and the systems were totally separated. But it's a small place, and when I tell people we will become the best burgers in Dubai, some people used to laugh in the beginning. And I just wanted to add one more thing before I end my long answer, is that I had a big issue when I wanted to hire the first chef. I would sit down with them in a coffee shop and tell them, we will open a burger place and we will become one of Dubai's best burgers. I know how to make burgers. I know the science behind it. We will do that. And then they believe my vision and my talk. I don't have a problem selling ideas I believe in. But then a lot of the chefs, after the first talk, when they go and see the shop, they look at it, they tell me, okay, talk to you tomorrow. Many of them have blocked me the second day, would never respond, because they didn't want to commit to this small shop.
Yeah.
And I still remember the first chef that I'm still working till this very day on different projects, Patrick. I have to name him because I have to thank him a lot for what he's done, me and him both together. I told him, what made you sign up? He's like, boss, I liked what you said. I understand that. But what happened when you saw the shop? He said, I shook your hand before going, and I'm a guy of my word. And when I came and saw the shop, I said, uh-oh, I just resigned from a good job to this. He says, I was a little bit skeptical, but he says, I'm glad I was in for the journey and the rise. Yeah.
It seems like it's not the Dubai way to do things, you know? Like I worked at the National and I was always getting these press releases of splashy launches, and things come and go because I often thought they're too big, they're too ambitious, there are too many spaces, too many seats. Was that part of your plan with High Joint? Like to do it small and to...
you dream big, but you also have to be realistic. So when we came in, with High Joint, I think what I love and I hold very dear to my heart with High Joint, it was the project that, when you want to do business, you want to enter the private sector, but the comfort of a paid job is always easy and it gives you a certain comfort zone. I needed that small nudge, and my partners were the ones who gave me that courage and nudge. And but we always had the choice of what kind of shop are we going to open. So my partners who came to me first, I wasn't the guy who said, let's open a restaurant. He said, I want to open a Japanese bakery here. And based on that location, I said, I would not come here to do Japanese bakery. Whatever is here has to be something very raw, very street-like. And we went through so many different things. But then when I said burgers, they're like, yes. Although at that time, every other shop in Jumeirah Road was a burger place.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it was a very crowded field.
But then when you look at the burger market, now here you talk business more than passion and what you like. The burger market is one of the biggest markets in food. If you talk about how much shares it has in the market, burgers is huge. So my idea was, if I take just a small percentage of that market, and I run my business as lean as possible, I'll have a very big chance of succeeding. So that's what we did. So we took a place where the rent was under 60,000 dirhams. We started with a budget of 300,000 dirhams, not a single penny more from inception. We did not even inject a single penny. It's funny I say penny, not a single dirham. Not a single dirham were fills into the company. And so based on that, of course, we had challenges and everything, but based on that, we entered with confidence, We have a great product that went through R&D for 6 months, with 15 years of also me kind of researching a lot about food and burgers specifically. And that's kind of what gave us the confidence to enter into this market, into the burger market specifically.
So you sold out of that, and now explain what you're doing, because it's really neat, this Airbnb luxury hotel hybrid.
So the new venture I'm working on now, and it's called Mori. So it's what we like to call a luxury short-term hospitality concept. I don't want to link the names of, renting out short-term or the word Airbnb, because I think that would sell us short.
Okay, sorry, I take that back.
Yeah, and we're no. I mean, that's why we try to be very careful with what we call it. And it's not a hotel, because you don't have the concierge and everything, and when you enter into the reception. but it has the convenience of both worlds. And I always tend to do things that serve my need. And I started to learn and learn and grow to trust my gut feeling. If I had trusted my gut feeling when I was a teenager, I would have become a billionaire now, I think, by investing in Nvidia and stuff. But
Oh,
I
interesting.
never trusted my gut feeling as a kid because everything is based on logic. But sometimes there are certain things, that sixth sense that gives you a tendency that I should start doing that now. So it's a concept between a hotel and a short-term rental. So you get all the services you get from a hotel: daily cleaning, the option of having room service come all the way up to your room, concierge, and also the personal touch you find in a lot of, high-level luxury boutique hotels. But you also have the convenience of staying in an apartment with a kitchen, as you mentioned before the talk. You love hotels, but you don't want to go to the buffet, you want to have your yogurt and maybe just cook an omelet. And that's in essence, it is a hotel, but instead of having all the rooms in one building, our rooms are all over Dubai and hopefully in the future all over the world.
Wow. How much market research do you do before you launch something like that? Because you said you're going on what you want.
Yeah,
And they always tell you don't do that. Don't start a business on what you want. But I think,
see, I remember when I started High Joint, and my PhD sense would tell me to write up a business plan and write all the details. And when I asked, God rest his soul, Rahama, a very prominent businessman in Dubai who's been doing business in Dubai for a very long time, and I told him, yeah, I'm going to start a business and I'm writing up a business plan. And he's like, he did not nod his head in happiness. And he says, Hamad, with business, get your hand dirty and start doing it.
Yep.
Of course, you do it. When I say my gut feeling never works, it's not a random guess. It's based on a lot of instinct and a lot of things coming through and reading numbers and seeing that there's a gap in the market. And I believe in the idea, but then you have to do your research in regards to how much money you're going to spend, what is the expected numbers that will return to you. But then also with that, I think, because when I did High Joint, based on the square footage of the restaurant, people told me, if you make 5,000 dirhams a day in this location with this size, you've become super successful. But I know High Joint Manara, and crazy days and weekends, we do something over 60, 70K. So no
that's your rent right there.
no matter what the numbers tell you, I at least, I do say it with confidence. I know we can reach numbers that I don't see because what we offer is a little bit higher, but you have to understand where the reality stands as well, so you don't get shocked when you see certain numbers. But you have to do your market research. You ask people in the business who have done it before, the ups and downs, the hardship, where should you anticipate challenges. But the way I do business, I'm not worried about making mistakes early on. It's part of the learning process, and it's part of learning the business. So even in High Joint, when I opened in Saudi Arabia, a lot of my colleagues would partner with people or hire people from there. I actually was on site in Saudi Arabia. And I think that was the peak time where I was spending so many hours away from home. So on a daily basis, my full-time job would end around 3, work another 4 or 5 hours with High Joint. On certain days, I would spend even longer till 11, 10 p.m. And then on Saturday, it is officially what I call my only day off, but my family says otherwise because I'm always on the phone messaging people. But then on Sunday morning, I would take the plane at 7 a.m. in the morning, go to Riyadh, land there at 8 p.m., meetings, checking in the restaurant, meeting with influencers, doing tastings, get on the plane at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., reach Dubai, hopefully at home by 1 a.m., sleep and wake up in the morning to go to my full-time job. So I do get my hands dirty. I like learning things. I don't just hire people and depend on them. I do depend on them on the long run, but I have to understand, the small little things. So even now with the short-term rental, I'm handling the design, the refurbishment, the supplying of different materials, the branded materials, getting the permits, running the different platforms from Airbnb to Booking.com to all the other ones myself and the account. So the company right now is only 2 people, but based on my previous experience, once we launch, we'll be ready to hire and expand more and more people.
What did you learn about hiring and doing those first couple of people?
So, I think you are as strong as your team. So if you don't pay attention to who you choose to surround you, and because I invest, maybe not money, but I invest time in my team by talking to them, instilling the visions that I have, making them start to dream bigger, live the whole vision and the culture and the values we hold dear. So I'm talking about High Joint specifically. So I used to hire people with no experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I talk, for example, I wanted to hire waiters. When anyone comes in and says, I have 3-4 years of experience, I don't hire them because I know the way I want to run the business is not a recycle of what other companies have done. So my basis for hiring, to be very honest, is based on character and personality. I would ask them, okay, why do you want to work? I look a little bit into their past. Why have they come here? And then I ask them questions like, especially waiters, I ask them questions like, so what's your favorite show on Netflix? What's your favorite sports team? Who's your favorite player? And then I tend to go along. If they say basketball, we get into discussion. Who do you think is the best? Is it Michael Jordan or, I forgot his name.
Scottie Pippen? I don't know.
No, those are from this. No.
Magic Johnson?
No. One of the newer guys. I forgot.
Kobe Bryant?
No.
Okay, I'm going to stop guessing.
I think there's always that discussion.
Yeah.
Discussion of who that. But anyways, even football,
Yeah.
Messi or Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And if they can lead those discussions or in movies or TV series, that gives me an understanding that they can relate to customers.
Yeah.
Because you have, certain people certain people that come in, they come from villages, and it'll be hard for them to communicate. If I find them to have good work ethics, okay, I will not put them as waiters, I'll put them in the kitchen. But that's how my hiring process is. So I hired people, not necessarily with the proper training, but people who wanted to work. And I used to do something in High Joint for the first 2 years, is that any new hire has to go through 1 month of only 1 day off and doing full shifts. Full shifts means from opening to closing.
Wow.
That way I can see, maybe this comes from my military background, but in extreme conditions, you see the real element of people. And some of them, they showed us the really bad side of their side, but at least I know, this guy has a temper. This guy is angry.
Yeah.
This guy breaks down easily, But for them to show me that they're willing to do that for a whole month makes me believe that they want to work. We had a lot of people fall off and not continue. And but those who stayed and did that, it came kind of a brotherhood, sisterhood thing that connected all the staff together. So the first 2 years we did that. Then we discovered by law we cannot do that. But we compensated them over the long run. We took care of them, of their families. When someone has some of their family members, pass away in their home countries, we would support their burial and stuff. So we took care of our staff. Even when it came to Corona, we did not fire anyone at all.
Wow. Okay.
So that's
an interesting thing. I want to follow up on that because I have friends who run businesses, and I haven't had staff, and I don't judge, but it was interesting how some people did everything they could to keep paying people, and some people immediately said, we can't keep paying people. It was, to me, a real divining rod. And I wouldn't know how I would respond or how I would deal with it, because you must have had issues.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy.
No.
Yeah.
I think as you say, the Dubai effect. I think our senior leadership has a certain style of leadership that can sometimes be hard to be taught. It has to be kind of lived and experienced. And I always say, the top of the pyramid, their leadership style kind of goes all the way down to every single citizen, resident in Dubai. So when the challenge of Corona came into sight, and I think we were talking about it in December, I told my partners, I believe Corona will cause a lockdown even in Dubai, regardless if we believed or not how serious the virus is. They said, why? I said, based on the information they say, airborne, takes a couple of days for it to be discovered or affects a person. This is going to be widespread. There will be not a single home without this, and how serious everybody's talking about it in the news, there's going to be a lockdown. So at that moment, I decided, Hamad, how many percentage of our food is delivered? I discovered it's only 12%. We have a very bad location for delivery range. And I discovered that aggregators take 30% of that money. So if we ever go to lockdown, we're going to go bankrupt. So before the lockdown happened, I did a couple of things. I started negotiating with the aggregators, Deliveroo, Talabat. They were very supportive, between parentheses, but now they are. But at that moment, their teams were different. So I discovered if I run through them, I can't make it. So we prepared our own platform where people can order on Instagram. We started not to hire drivers, but we started to hire companies that do the deliveries.
Okay.
And I managed to get, full guarantee that companies will deliver from Jumeirah all the way to Khawanij, Al-Awir, and Jabal Ali from one location. Once we had that secured, lockdown happened. To be very honest, it was scary because our sales went down to 50, 60 dirhams a day. And my partner said, Hamad, we need to fire people. I'm like, guys, we said that people will be scared. Restaurants will be closed. That means there's going to be a market share for us to eat into. We have to be ready for that. So let's stand our stance and not change anything. And as days progressed, sales weren't growing up. We did make a decision to force people to vacations. We did not fire them. Force them on paid leaves and stuff. But as the lockdown started to, people were scared in the first week, but then they started to regain, assurances that it's okay to have delivery food. And what we gained, because we were delivering it ourselves, not through aggregators, within 1 month, we knew exactly where every single customer lives. And there was a lot, people wanted to go out, there's no restaurants open, so they would depend on deliveries. We immediately took that. So if someone orders from Jumeirah to Khawanij, it would take 1 hour and a half, 2 hours for the delivery to come. So we said, okay, now we need to move closer to the customers. So we immediately opened within cloud kitchens. It was that early stage where there were cloud kitchens, but there was no restaurants to operate. So we immediately said, okay, we need to open in Business Bay and Deira Side, and we expanded. So Corona was a blessing for us. Before Corona, we were only 20 employees. After Corona, 2022, at that peak, we were at 120 employees running in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and Sharjah. And I owe it to Corona and our readiness to be ready at that moment for that thing. And when I say about, leadership in this country, exactly what happened with Emirates Airlines. In the beginning, they chose not to fire people at the beginning. They have huge number of staffs, crew members, captains, all grounded, but they were all paid for. And I think they had so many creative ways of trying to keep everything afloat, because that decision was done so that when the world is ready to fly again, who would have the upper hand? Emirates Airlines. And that's what helped them at the present moment, being one of the main leaders of number of travelers traveling around the world. So I think we did not we did not see what they did, but we kind of did something similar at a smaller scale. And I think our staff, we have a good retention of team members, because, they remember that we did not fire them in Corona. They were with us from the beginning. We see them, meet them, take them out, and all that sort of thing.
How do you, because when you make those decisions and the people around you, everyone's not sure, right? Like everyone's unsure when you made a major pivot like that. Were your staff, were they like how do you have the certainty to we're doing it when you don't know it's going to work?
I think none of us know anything is going to work or not, And, when you say you believe in it or you have a gut feeling and you have that persistency and passion, I think it's persistency and passion that makes it work no matter what, So even during Corona, when we decided to do what we did, it's amazing to talk about how well we were prepared. But then if we didn't have the persistency, we didn't have the stamina to make sure it happens, it would have fallen apart. So even if many other people took the same approach we took, I don't think everybody will see the same ending or the same result. I think persistency is, to me, even when I tell my kids, I tell them no matter how smart you think you guys are, if you don't put in hard work and persistency, it will never work. You know, someone with less intelligence but more persistent work and consistent hard work would succeed more than any smart guy with no hard work.
Well, I'm impressed just with the fear that was gripping everyone that you could maneuver. Like that impressed me so much at the time. Just the way people were. You know, you're more one of those people.
Thank God. I mean, thank God it worked. It worked for our sake in a proper manner, and I'm blessed for that. I always say there's a certain element, you know, in our culture and religion, we call it nasib, baraka, and like, you know, the restaurant we took in Manara, that next to the mosque, the turnover of restaurants in that location is so high. So when we took it in, one of the guys, I heard, they didn't know I was the owner, oh, another restaurant now, 2 years and it's going to change again, you know. But, you know, alhamdulillah, as we say here, for us it worked well. And we aim to always, you know, when we had that vision in the beginning. When we started, even though it's a small location, we wanted to reverse the paradigm. At that moment, we were importing every single burger brand to Dubai. And at that moment, I said, it's time now to reverse that paradigm and start to export our burgers outside. And we have a map in our offices back at that time where we have pins of where we want to open. So it was all going towards the west to Los Angeles and New York. And it would, for us at that time, it was funny, but we were serious about getting High Joint to the US one day.
So you studied animation way back?
Yes.
Did you draw? Like, did you draw? Do you draw?
This is the eternal question of, is art something taught or is it something instilled in someone and they express it? I think it's a mix of both, you know. I come from a very scientific background family. I say that because of my father, but then when I look at my mother's side of the family, there's a lot of artists and painters who still paint. But I never started drawing very early on. I think I started drawing towards high school when I said I wanted to enter an art school, and I discovered they need a portfolio. And to get a portfolio, I need to start drawing. So then I started to join some classes after school. So, but then with persistency, I remember in the university, our life drawing class instructor, professor, asked me after the second year to be his assistant. So I turned out to be one of the best artists that draws live drawings. So it is something you can learn. Maybe I had the potential inside me, I don't know. But again, I think my scientific, mathematic genes come in, because even in animation, I used to excel a lot in doing special effects, particles, fires, explosions, dynamics, and physics, because that requires a strong background in math, you know.
Okay. They're very connected. So you work for Dubai Police. We won't talk about that too much.
Yeah.
But you work a lot with AI. You work a lot. And I think a lot of people are really scared about AI. And I think a lot of people are talking about, you know, how it's going to take over. And I just wondered, from your perspective, the world we're in right now, the fear that people feel. I see people kind of going like, la, 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 because I'm scared I'm going to lose everything, you know? And that's what I'm seeing a lot of people, like, in 2 years, we're not going to have this. I just wondered from your perspective, like, how you feel about it.
You know, I think with every technology that has come with the human race, there was always that fear of the end of the world and that Armageddon that's going to happen. But I think it's normal to have that kind of fear with every new change that happens. I still remember I know it's different, but I still remember the Y2K problem. Mm-hmm. And it felt like the world was going to end, and we were waiting for planes to fall from the sky and missiles to launch, but nothing happened. Maybe either it didn't exist, the problem didn't exist, or because people took care of the problem before it happened. But with AI, I think, you know, what we fear most, like what happens in, you know, Terminator and the robots, you know, going against us. you know, with an expert, I won't call myself an expert, with someone who works within the field and understands how these programs and algorithm works, I don't think in any of the near future we'll see the rise of robots against us. But it will change the way we live our lives. As simple effects to, I've seen a lot of questions that were given to us by panels, and the way it's written, it shows that people were using AI tools to draft questions.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's showing up everywhere.
Yeah, it
and if you
is.
know it, people
You
need
feel
to.
it, right?
Yeah, people. I'm getting newsletters that it's like, I know you asked ChatGPT,
to
write
do-
me an article about how to invest in. It's quite something. This is the problem now, right? And it's like if you're savvy, but not everyone's savvy.
I think people will, I mean, when I started using, these AI tools very early on, um, even before ChatGPT became a common tool everybody used, I think people didn't notice. You can go away with doing it and nobody would notice. But I think humans have a very interesting ability to detect that something has been made by something. So you can tell after using ChatGPT and seeing the results, when you see any result, my kids, I give them some images created by AI, and I know it looks pretty good, better than anything else you'd see. And when they see it, they're like, Dad, it feels it's AI. They've built that sixth sense of understanding. But life is not going to be same anymore. I got rid of contracts I had in High Joint with content writers and creators and copyright services. You don't need them anymore. I started to teach my team in High Joint in early 2022 all the tools so that they can plan and work more efficient. And I always say, when you talk about the rich and the poor and the gap becoming bigger with more companies rising, the gap becomes bigger. I think now with AI tools, when you talk about your human resources, people who understand how these tools work and they enable the work, and people who don't, this gap in human resources will see a big shift.
Yeah.
Because with the same person, you can do much more. Yeah. I can do much more.
You can 10 times yourself.
I can do many things at any given time. So it's going to be a challenge to know what is this. I mean, it's going to be a challenge in the way we work and how to, especially writers. I think now they have to make sure they can create something ChatGPT cannot.
It's a very good editor. That's what I like to use it for. It's a really good editor, especially if you're an independent journalist.
Yeah,
that's what I think it's fantastic
you
for.
write everything, and then it kind of edits and cuts and makes sure everything.
And it will point out. But I'm still on the fence of, is that cheating or not? It's like, well, I would pay. It's better than an editor. What's funny? What are some of your favorite tools? Do you just have like one or two for life, for making your life easier?
I mean, I use ChatGPT. I use Perplexity. Okay. I use Sono for creating music and sounds. I use a tool now just for fun called it's spelled Hail, HAIL, OUAI, and it's been evolving so fast. But you put any picture in it, and you can prompt it to do something with the picture.
Wow.
Make people move from old pictures, take your picture and take your face and prompt it to put you into something, creating something totally new. And I use it to create videos sometimes, to be honest. I cut some videos. I wanted to explain an idea. So it does good video content without having to produce something. Sono makes nice ambient music, lyrics, and a full song that you will not know it is. Of course, now when you hear it more and more, you start to identify. And lately, I need to always produce, slides on the go. So I use something called Gamma, Gamma.
I use Gamma. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing how it is now.
Yes, this is the thing when you use these
tools. A year
tools,
ago, it was horrible.
Right, and this is the thing when you're using the tools. If you're lucky enough to use them, this is where you can really watch how it's blowing your mind.
I do spend every month 1 day where I tell my whole family, everybody can go to sleep. I'm staying on the computer from 9 p.m. till whenever I want to sleep. Just to look into what new tools come out there, because the tools keep on changing, evolving. New tools come up. You have now DeepSeek, which is a competitor now, a serious competitor to the American AI systems. But they keep on changing and evolving. There's a lot of money in this business right now. Yeah. So that's what's expected to see. Yeah.
Interesting times. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.